Hey everyone, this is IMAXNation1980 here with another Thoughts on the Future of Animation video. This is part 11. Now, in order for animation to really make a big comeback, even though we've got Pixar, even though animated films still do very well, here's one thing that needs to happen. Disney needs to seriously overhaul their image. They really need to make some big changes at the studio. The problem is, during the Michael Eisner era, Disney became very family-friendly, a little overtly family-friendly. Now, back when Walt Disney made his films, he made them for the whole family, but he still, advertised them as serious films. Like, if you look at the posters for Bambi, back in 1942, the posters, they say, like, a great love story. It looks like a serious movie. But whenever the movie comes to home video, they make it look like a cutesy little movie with just, happy deer and, cute bunnies and stuff like that. I haven't seen too many ads focusing on, like, the second half of the film after Bambi, after Bambi's mother is shot and, the forest fire and all those things. I really wish that they would advertise Bambi that way as the great film that it is, not as a cutesy little movie. By that, and that's just one example, but advertising the film like that makes the film look like a little kid's thing, and thus people perceive it as little kids' things unless they actually watch the movie itself. That's one reason why animation is hurting, because obviously one of the dominant names in animation, of course, when you say animation, one of the first things you might think of is Disney or Warner Brothers, the Looney Tunes or Pixar. But the Disney films are promoted in, such a very, like the way they're promoted, it's kind of appalling. And they always make the films look, like kiddie-friendly romps. And the movies themselves aren't all that kiddie. That's the problem with Disney's marketing department. And Disney's marketing department really needs to get it together, because releasing movies like Bolt and Winnie the Pooh and The Princess and the Frog up against big blockbusters is not the way to go. I think, they're killing their hand-drawn animated movies that way. Meanwhile, the Pixar films do great, and so do the DreamWorks films, but the Disney films are scraping, the bottom of the box office barrel because, they're not putting any effort into marketing these films, and they open with such low opening weekends, and then they pull a 4 times multiplier, and the thing manages to top 100 million. And the thing manages to make 100 million, just barely. It happened to Bolt and The Princess and the Frog. Tangled got lucky, which hopefully the Disney executives aren't saying, see, people like CGI better than hand-drawn. I just hope that doesn't happen, because Wreck-It Ralph is going to be CGI, and watch that do better than Princess. But however, Wreck-It Ralph must be a very good film. Same with King of the Elves or whatever is coming out in 2013. That's what I noticed about Disney lately. They've been kind of quiet on what the next movies are going to be like. Back in, even during the Michael Eisner era, you heard announcements for films like, Frady Cat, Tangled back when it was called Rapunzel Unbraided. And then there were films like My Peoples, aka A Few Good Ghosts, films that had potential, but they were canceled. I mean, I'd like to see them revive some of those ideas like My Peoples and Frady Cat, and there was going to be a third Fantasia film that was going to have One by One, Little Match Girl, Destino, Lorenzo, and I forget if there was anything else. They should definitely do another Fantasia, and this time have some scenes from the first Fantasia, a few segments from 2000, and completely new ones, and mix them all together in this great 2-hour epic, and that should be awesome. But one can dream, right? Anyway, so Disney's marketing department needs to get it together. Corporate Disney, they got to stop with this whole kiddie stuff. With Disney Consumer Products, they make these films look like they're just for kids, when Walt Disney himself, just look at the posters for Bambi when it first came out, and now look at the ads for something like Bambi, and you'll see the difference. So, anyways, you want to know something else? I think the Disney Channel is 90% of the problem. The Disney Channel, I did not ever, I really didn't want to do a rant video on the Disney Channel because, first of all, I haven't really watched a Disney Channel show in years. But you know what? the Disney Channel is just not the Disney Channel. It's basically, a channel for, young kids and tweeners. And no offense to anyone who likes the Disney. If you like the Disney Channel, that's fine. But personally, I see it as, a stain on the Disney brand name. It just kind of makes Disney look like this lame, safe for kiddies brand when anything, when it's really not. When they make some really good movies. And what also bothers me is that the executives, the people at Disney spend all their money on crap that doesn't last too long, and yet it makes money because it's safe to make, and it makes money. The same thing with the direct-to-video sequels. I mean, we still are getting those, poorly done Tinkerbell movies, and we're getting Planes. I mean, why do these things need to be made? I mean, I know you'll probably tell me, yeah, but they want to make money. That's where it's at. Oh, yeah? Well, why do you have to sacrifice, creativity? I mean, as much as I liked, I really loved Princess and the Frog, but Bolt and Tangled, while they were good, they were a little bit on the safe side. I haven't seen Winnie the Pooh yet, so I can't make a judgment on it, and who knows how Wreck-It Ralph will be. But still, why can't we see a film up to the, that's as good as something Walt made? Like, we need another Pinocchio. We need another Fantasia. We need something that's going to blow the doors off the competition. We needed to make the other companies kind of like quiver in a way, like, oh my god. And then maybe it can get great reviews and blow up the box office and make about like $300 million domestically, or even much more than that, and like crack $700 million worldwide and compete with all the big Hollywood blockbusters that come and go, and that probably won't be remembered too well in the years to come. But anyways, if you notice, those kinds of films, they have huge opening weekends, but then they pull like a 2 to 3 times multiplier. Then take a look at something like Bolt or The Princess and the Frog or Tangled. Those films don't have big opening weekends, but yet they pull a great multiplier. And why do you think that is? Because they're good. People go to see them. Everybody and their brother can go see them, no matter how old you are. A good movie will do good, while a bad movie will open big based on hype alone, and then it will kind of collapse after that. Transformers films benefit from a 5-day opening week. It's about 5 days, I believe. But, I'm trying not to insult anyone who likes those films. I mean, if you like those kinds of films, that's fine. I mean, I will admit that I enjoyed the first Transformers, but I did not like 2, and I thought 3 was not much better. So, yeah. Anyways, yep, the Disney Channel. The Disney Channel is, like I said, it's just really not, it's... The problem is, the Disney brand name, now when you bring up Disney, you just might think of that squeaky clean image. The Disney Channel, oh god. Where to begin? The Disney Channel used to be great. There was a time when the Disney Channel used to be awesome. But then, something happened. For some reason, in order to get a bigger audience, because, back in the day, I believe the Disney Channel audience was, families and, Disney fanatics like myself and all. But then they started going for teenager-oriented shows in around 2000 or so, and they started making, original movies. Now, I know a lot of people will say, like, oh, I remember those days, Even Stevens, Lizzie McGuire. Those were good shows, and Hannah Montana's crap, though. Personally, I don't see a difference between any of them. They all seem like the same, stuff that you can repackage and sell once again. I mean, I'm going to try not to hate on these things because, you know what? I haven't watched too much of them. I mean, I guess they're kind of fun if you're a tweener or whatever, but why is Disney doing this? Leave that to another network. Leave that to, other networks. I mean, I know they want to compete. I know they want money. But what about creativity? I mean, a lot of people will say, yeah, well, money's the name of the game. Let me tell you something. Walt Disney didn't churn out crap just to make a profit. He made a majority of his work was good, even the stuff he did once he started getting into television and when he started getting more into making money in the 50s. Early on, Walt believed in making great movies, Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. I mean, why would somebody crass, someone who's all about the money, approve of something like Fantasia? And look what happened to Fantasia. Fantasia was a huge flop. And the fact that it did so badly, a lot of accounts say that it really had quite an effect on Walt and how he went about his life afterwards and how he approached art. But here's the thing though. I mean, once in a while, Disney animation shows that they have ambition. It's just that they don't let it shine as much. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a very good. I mean, The Princess and the Frog comes very close. To me, The Princess and the Frog is close to something Walt would do. It had a great story. It was serious. It didn't dumb itself down with unnecessary comic relief. And if there was comic relief, it worked. It had great animation, it had great visuals. The songs worked. I mean, a lot of people said the songs in Princess and the Frog were forgettable, but I didn't forget any of them. I loved them all. Where He is Tangled, on the other hand, it was a good movie, but it was more of a sweet spoof of Disney more than anything. But still, it was more of like a kind of an irreverent spoof on the Disney classics, while still being, a decent story. Rapunzel finding her parents and all that. It was still a pretty good movie. I just think that The Princess and the Frog was a lot better. And Bolt was good too. Bolt had a good story. It had comic relief that worked. It just felt a little bit safe. They could have gone a little more, but they still did a pretty good job with it. It kind of felt like a Pixar film. That's the thing, though. I think Disney animation is on an uphill streak ever since, Eisner stepped down. We haven't been seeing films like Chicken Little and Home on the Range. We've been seeing good stuff. Now, they should start making great stuff that breaks new ground. The Pixar films, they're always groundbreaking. Let's see Walt Disney Animation Studios make a film that's groundbreaking, one that really amazes audiences everywhere. And maybe give, its competition for a run for its money. I mean, DreamWorks can repeat themselves all they want, although DreamWorks seems to be DreamWorks seems to be breaking out of the formula, the Shrek 2 formula, as I like to call it, with How to Train Your Dragon. And, the other studios like Sony, Illumination, they can go ahead and make their films. But I'd like to see Disney, who was once, the leader of, animation, and the Disney animated features, they really were ambitious films. I'd like to see them get back to that. I mean, the 90s films had some ambition in them. Why can't they do it again? I mean, The Princess and the Frog had it too, so what are they waiting for? I mean, they'll spend millions and millions of dollars on, crap on the Disney Channel, but they can't risk an animated movie that will potentially fail? Come on now. Disney has so many failures a year. Let's see. Mars Needs Moms. Prom. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Films that either underperform or flop completely. I think they can handle an animated feature disappointing at the box office, ambitious or not. What do you think? Tell me what you think of this. Thanks for watching or listening. This is IMAX Nation 1980, signing off.